Popular culture tells you how to transition from tragedy, but it is based on human capacity. What if you had access to more powerful and reliable source? You do. All right, let's dig right in. Listen, all of the research and things that we do, the psychology and psychiatry and therapy and all of this stuff is based on studying people in general, the world. And we know, I think everybody could admit the world is pretty jacked up. So imagine we're studying everybody in the world to see how they react, in this case to tragedy or trauma, whatever you want to call it. And based on those studies, we learn things generically, homogenizing everybody. You see where I'm going with this? They can give you the probabilities and the data, and most people are going to, but there's always outliers, right? Anytime you get into this stuff, there's an outlier. So, what I want you to consider is you are an outlier. You're not part of the masses. You're not part of the world. If you look at the world in general and the state of the world and the mindset and spirit of the people in the world, what do you see in general? And realize, oh my goodness, I'm being lumped in with the culture. And depending on where you are, you may be part of the culture. In that case, you're watching this video and you're like, well, no, that's me. I'm definitely locked in that. So maybe the way the world is handling trauma and tragedy works for you and you can go down that path. But I'm here to tell you there's something more for you if you want that more. All right, see, because what happens in today's world, I call it the pill culture, the therapy culture. We are naming more and more things as mental illness. I mean, if you just look over the years, I'm not going to go into all the statistics, but the number of things that we've identified has grown exponentially. And guess what? There are pills to go with each one of those things. It's all a money-making scheme, okay? And if you get trapped in that, in this whole therapy culture, putting your faith in therapy and pharmaceuticals and pills, now, I'm not saying in all cases these things are bad. I'm just saying go in with your eyes wide open. Go in knowing that nope, this is not the fix. This may be a temporary deal, but you don't want to get hooked. You don't want to get addicted, all those things. I had a personal story on that where I was told I was going to be on medication the rest of my life, and I just never believed it. And of course, I'm not. 10 years clean of that stuff that I said I was going to be on the rest of my life. So believe me, I'm not talking fantasy here. This is real life stuff. And I've known countless people who have overcome the pill culture, the therapy culture. Okay. You cannot put all your faith in that. And this is what I'm getting to, tapping into the bigger power, right? The much more powerful and reliable source. So you think about that. Studying, all of this stuff is based on studying people in general, the world. We've got the pill culture, the therapy culture. Well, here's fact. Each person is unique. You are unique. There's nobody created like you. So how effective is it going to be to take something that was created based on the masses and say, this is going to work for you, Robert? How many times do you see adverse effects? How many people do you see go into therapy and not get any better, or all of that stuff? It's because it's unique. It's just like a needle in a haystack. They're hoping, right? They're treating symptoms. They're treating symptoms. That's what our culture does right now. We treat symptoms, but we don't treat what's really happening, and we don't give people the guidance to get to the real source of the truth, I believe. And anytime you see the general population, something getting popular like therapy, mental health, self-care, all that stuff, those are all the buzzwords. I've even seen churches get into that, and I just shake my head. I'm like, if you start going with the crowd, watch out. I think that's where the enemy is operating. He wants you to put your faith in something other than where we know our faith should be. And that brings me to my next point. Anything is possible with God. It's true. Anything. Name one thing that the answer isn't Jesus. There isn't anything you can answer or anything you can talk about, because that is a truth. Anything is possible with God. And here's the key. Do you believe it? And if you believe it, do you live it? Do you live like it is? Do you know it in your heart? Now, this is deep stuff. To the extent that you can believe it and live it and know it and have faith in it, I believe is the key that unlocks anything and everything, that allows you to overcome any situation, any circumstance. And definition of overcoming, you have to be careful with that too. What is overcoming? Paul he had a thorn. We all have our thorn. Some things, God keeps with us to remind us of whose we are and to keep us humble. This isn't something that is just it's not all about me and I want to be perfect and I want to be 100% this, that, or the other. But there's so much wisdom in starting with that anything is possible with God, and focusing your mind on and training your mind in your thoughts and shifting your thoughts to believe that anything is possible. Because anything less than that means that you're going to be a victim of something, circumstance, disease, you name it. Because, see, God has already overcome. He created, he's already overcome. We have free will, so we can choose how we respond. Absolutely. I can choose, you can choose how you respond. So I'm just saying, give it a shot. Give it a shot. Believe it. Increase your belief. Increase your action in believing, and make sure your actions start to mimic your belief. And most of the times they do. People say, oh yeah, I believe God, etc., but their actions show that, well, they're not really trusting in God. They're still trusting in their own strength and their own power. It's an individual question for each individual, but I'm here to tell you, we are called to act as if anything is possible with God. The next point is the resurrection power. We are acting in the power of the resurrection. Jesus died. When he died, he didn't have followers. When he came back, we had followers, and it started a worldwide revolution, if you will, that's still going on today. So it's the resurrection power. The resurrected power is what we live into. When I say take action, that's what it is. That is a much more reliable power than anything that man can create. That resurrection power. It's more powerful than pharmaceuticals. It's more powerful than therapy. It's more powerful than mental health and self-care and all that stuff. Self-care is about you. Mental health is about you. It's focusing on you. The pride, the ego. It's all about me. Got to get away from that. Got to get away from that. Is this making sense to you? Hopefully it is. You have to be in community. Be in community with people who are for you, don't judge you, in harmony with you, and who are also understanding the fact that anything is possible with God, that are also basking in the resurrection power. Find that community. If you don't have it, start it, create it. We've got one over here at Life Transformed. We'd love to have you over here as well. And the last point, I talked about it, I mentioned it a little bit earlier, act as if. Act as if Jesus will heal me. Because he will. You look all throughout Scripture, and how many times did Jesus say, your faith has healed you? Now go. I didn't do it. Your faith has. So you act as if Jesus is going to heal me. My faith in Jesus will heal me. That was my story on prescription meds and a health issue. It's carried me through all kinds of issues. So those are the ways that you can transition from tragedy or trauma. Don't focus on the human solutions. Focus on the more powerful solutions that you have access to right now. Subscribe with the notification bell to receive regular updates. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button to see more like this. Comment down below. This can be with questions or answers to questions you ask. We will see you next time on this journey from isolation to community, where the next step beyond is freedom.